Hello and welcome. My name is Steven Dickens and you're joining us here on a HyperFRAME Research video series. I'm joined by Mike from Cumulus AI. Hey Mike.
Here.
So let's get started. Cumulus AI, your role, recently joined as CEO. Tell us a little bit about what drew you to the company and maybe a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so joined recently as CEO, as you just mentioned.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And previously I was a CTO at Applied Digital, so I spent a number of years there. What really excited me about this team and this opportunity was, honestly, it was a bit of the macro. It's all the things going on around AI that even 6 to 12 months ago, we had questions on how quickly this was going to go, how long was it going to take, how accurate were these solutions going to be, what were the real world use cases. And I think personally, leaning into that a bit more personally and exploring those use cases, exploring those applications, exploring how the tools were developing, and then seeing how quickly they were moving, it made me really excited to get into the infrastructure arena again, and doing that by providing data center capacity, GPU capacity, and software solutions on top of it. I got to know the Cumulus team around the same time I was getting excited about that through some advisory type work. And after I got to know their team, work with their team, understand the pieces they had in place, but also the pieces that they were putting in place, I got really excited because it aligned with the way that I would do things now, knowing what I know about the market today and where it's going. So they had the right combination of people, resources, and direction to get me excited about jumping in and helping them take that momentum and shifting to the next gear.
So Cumulus, relatively new name to the market, saturated market, lots of players in that space. I think what's been interesting for me is the combination of that next generation infrastructure, but also that power and power generation perspective. Can you just frame up the value prop for us and how you see coming into that GPU as a service kind of neo cloud space and really where you're going to capture?
Yeah, I keep coming back to the word white space. Is where is the white space in today's market? Where is the demand? Where is the supply? Where are people screaming for more? And obviously it's more GPUs everywhere you turn. But then you look at the world and say, well, what's preventing that from happening today? And really it's an infrastructure problem. It's a combination of the right capital to purchase the GPUs and get those to market quickly. It's a matter of speed to market, which is a big factor here and the way we're going to market. It's a matter of, do you have the data center capacity to get those chips into the field? And then finally, is there power available to power those data centers?
I think the interesting thing for me is, and you touched on it last there, it's not just that infrastructure play, it's also that power. Maybe just double click Cumulus, where are you from an infrastructure point of view? What's that differentiation going to look like?
Yeah, so I think of Cumulus as fulfilling the full stack of AI. And that's everything from the molecules on the power generation side to the data that comes out on the other end. So that includes the power gen, the land, the data center, the chips and the infrastructure that goes in place, the networking equipment, the connectivity, interconnectivity between the data centers for true cloud, and then the software you layer on top of all of that to make it more efficient, more resilient, more secure, more scalable, more user-friendly. I think user experience is a big factor here. So when I think about Cumulus and full stack, that's how I look at it.
I think that's the piece that resonates for me. There's lots of players that are coming in at various parts of that discussion. You guys being able to bring that full stack to market is key, is the key differentiator. Am I thinking about it right?
You are, and I think that the signal to me is the hyperscalers and how they're going to market. And they are very much leaning into the full stack aspect because they are also power and space.
Partner on the power side, we're seeing that with those players. You guys are able to even bring that into play.
Yeah, and do it at a different scale. One of the challenges I see with the way that most of the infrastructure is being developed right now is it's being developed at hyperscale, which is being redefined every single day. It used to be 100 megawatts as a hyperscale facility, 300 megawatts as a hyperscale facility. Now it's 3 gigawatts as a hyperscale facility, and that's fine. The world needs that scale of compute, specifically for like training, but the world also needs more compute now. And those hyperscale developments are oftentimes many, many years of real construction to bring it online. Lots of capacity planning. A lot of that explosion of demand happened before they had ever had a chance to break ground, and therefore we were behind in delivering the infrastructure to get the chips to market. So that's one of the gaps I see Cumulus really filling, is how do we get these chips into the market quickly by not going at hyperscale, moving at hyper speed, looking at hyper distributed to reach that same level of scale over time.
And you touched on it briefly there, but I want to expand. You talked about training, you talked about inference. Where do you see that mix?
If I rewind back to this market pre-ChatGPT, everything was research, AI researchers looking for compute, data scientists looking for compute, traditional ML guys looking for compute. That quickly, with the release of ChatGPT, shifted from everybody wants training. And everybody wanted training on the scale of what OpenAI trained the last models at. So for the last few years, it's been training, going from 1 to 4 to 8 to 16 to 50,000 GPU clusters, now hundreds of thousands of GPUs per cluster. The challenge with that training game to have the largest foundational models is you need that massive scale. So when I said there's a place in the market for these gigawatt scale campuses, that's it. We need to build
that long tail of inference and have an underserved market.
So now there are only so many players training foundational models. Most people are then taking those foundational models and figuring out how to apply them smartly to solve their workflows and their use cases. And they don't need that large scale training. What they need is some fine tuning capacity and some inference capacity to scale those use cases. So I think now the market is shifting, especially the longer tail, is shifting from training to mostly inference. And that's being driven by these applicable real-world valuable use cases that AI is solving.
So Mike, as we start to think about wrapping up, Cumulus, new entrant into this market, exploding market, can you just wind the aperture forward for me? What's the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months, 3 years going to look like? And how are you going to sort of grow into that space? Just give the viewers and listeners here just a perspective of what that roadmap looks like.
Yeah, I mean, from a AI perspective, generally speaking, I think we're still
early days.
Yeah, I forget the analogy you might have used, but it was like still in the first inning of a 7-game series or something along that side.
I'm starting to get that. We're starting to now my sort of US sporting analogy.
Yeah, exactly. Or we're still in the parking lot and the game hasn't even started yet, right? I think there are a lot of people talking about that, and I believe in that. I think that some of these killer app use cases you're seeing around coding, even the penetration of that is still very, very early, very, very low. As that plays out, it's got a potential to make that whole world more efficient. That's a massive $800 billion per year market just in software engineering. So I think as we continue to see these killer app solutions and these real world use cases evolve, and the enterprises and the businesses start to adapt those at scale, like we just continue to scale with it. So I don't see the demand for the compute slowing, I just see it speeding up. At the same time, the demand for more accurate solutions is also increasing, which oftentimes just means more reasoning behind the scenes and more workflows behind the scenes before you deliver a result. That all means more compute.
So final question, where do you see Cumulus in that landscape?
We are fulfilling the demand for compute. So we're doing that by bringing compute to market as quickly as possible in a cost-effective manner, looking at resiliency, looking at security, looking at ways to innovate and provide better user experiences. And that's going to evolve at the early stages, partnering with data center providers to get that compute on the shelves quickly. That's going to evolve at the same time and in tandem, delivering our own modular infrastructure to the field. And then over time, we'll also look at doing our own power gen so we could bring that capacity on that faster.
Well, that's a fantastic summary, Mike. You've been watching us here at HyperFRAME Research, where we're bringing you the latest news about the hottest names in AI. Please click back, subscribe, and check us out for more content. We'll see you next time.